What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of And Action Filmmaking Podcast. I'm Tommy DiNucci, as always, here with my good friend, my faithful and trusty podcast companion, co-host with the most, Mikey Messier. Mike, the summer is winding down. We're about 4 or 5 Sundays away from the NFL season kicking off. Got my Patriot shirt on. It's starting to get a little darker, a little earlier. I noticed that last night when I looked outside. It was getting dark, and it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock. Gonna be some frost on the pumpkin soon, brother. What do you think? Summer's winding down. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, Tommy. Thanks for asking. I'm good. It's good to be here. And yeah, it's interesting. I've kind of got my mind in two places, buddy. I'm already, as you're going to mention later, I'm already planning something for September. That yesterday I was juggling phone calls and text messaging because it's interesting when you have a lot of things to do in a show or on a period of time, how you want to juggle things and get people to be on the same page, and where am I going to be when, and all that good stuff. So I mean, I'm thinking
Well,
towards
let's
September
not bury
already.
the lead. Let's just come out with it. If you're just watching this now, and you haven't been paying attention to our last couple episodes. Mike is planning his first trip, where he now lives currently in Florida, all the way up the East Coast. He's traveling up to his, sort of hometown, we could call it, Rhode Island. And I'm excited because, geez, I haven't seen Mike with my own two eyes, despite this program that we have here every week. I haven't seen Mike in person in what, Mike, 2 years now? It's been a couple of years,
Yeah,
I think. Two and
the
a half
last
years,
time.
maybe.
Well, no, about two.
Two years.
It was October of 2022 that I was up there last. So
Well,
it's been as the kids say, it's been a minute, which means it's been a long time in English. So I'm looking forward to being there, buddy, and seeing you and seeing everybody. And um, when you do kind of make things, when you're less available, or when you're available less to a location, to a group of people, you do want to get everything in there. And so already it's 5 or 6 weeks away, buddy, and I'm already trying to plan things out in the head.
oh, and I'm sure it books up quick. I mean, you every old pal, every cousin. I know you got your sister living up here still, so there's a lot of people to get acquainted with. But the more exciting thing, and we can't say too much about it, but Mike, you'll be coming up here to be part of my next film, which we're really excited about. My comedy that I'm going to be making in the next few weeks. So be fun to get you in front of my camera again, Mikey.
I'm looking forward to it, and that's actually the catalyst for me going up there. So thanks, and I'm excited to see you and to see you. You always have a good team, Tommy. I'll give you that. You always have a group of professionals that are in a good mood, and the food and beverage on set's always nice. The accommodations are always pleasant. People are always up for making a movie, and I think I did get some positive feedback from our last two shows. Our buddy there, Kim Kaling, followed up, and she watched on Tubi the movie, The Mick and the Trick, which is
Ah,
now
very nice.
available. And she enjoyed it quite a bit, actually. And she was asking me questions about the plot and everything. And I'm like, I don't know, Kim. I'm like, you'll have to ask Tommy, because she was asking me some pretty intense stuff, specifically about the Richard Klein police character and his, involvement in the. And I'm like, I gave her my theory, but I mean, maybe she'll hit you up for a theory or two, or
Well,
we
maybe
watch the shows or
Kim is
something.
more than welcome to jump on here if she happens to watch and drop down any Mick and the Trick comments. We'll be happy to field them and answer them right here on the live chat. Yeah, we had a fun time. 2 weeks in a row we talked about the Mick and the Trick. I had a great time kind of reminiscing about that one. And like Mikey said, if you haven't seen it, it's available now on Tubi, which is, a lot of people are still kind of like, what's Tubi? Just
Right.
go to www.tubi.com and pull it up. It's an awesome platform. There are so many great movies on Tubi that, once you watch them making the trick on Tubi, you're going to go back and be like, oh, wow, this is on Tubi. This is on Tubi. TV shows, a lot of great, great content for the bubble. It's all free. You just got to watch commercials like the old days, which is kind of nice. I mean, something kind of nostalgic about, taking that minute or, 90-second break every now and then to, I don't know. Maybe that's when you go get a drink in the other room. Maybe that's when you check your phone. I don't know. It's a commercial. Relax. Got a birthday shout out today. Happy birthday to the other Mike Messier, Showcase Mike. My good friend Mike. He's got a birthday today. Mike is a guy, if you don't know Mike, he's been heavily involved in our movies here in the last couple, 2, 3 years. And here's a guy who, yeah, he's kind of ironic because he manages a movie theater. I hope Mike won't mind me sharing that, but Mike is a manager over at Showcase. He's worked there for, I want to say, since like the late 80s. Like Mike he's a lifer over at the movie theater, and he just has a love for movies. And now he's, at a point in his life where his kids have gotten kind of a little older, and he's like, hey, you know what? I really want to focus on this movie thing. And for the last 2, 3 years, he's been putting in a lot of work, a lot of dedication, a lot of time, both work in the craft of acting, and also he's been now writing a little bit. He's dabbling in the art of screenwriting, been working with Glenn Ciano on something kind of cool. So shout out to Showcase Mike. Thanks for always being there for us. And I don't want to release any information without speaking to Mike's representation, but something tells me Mike will also have an appearance in my upcoming film. Can you believe it? We're going to have two Mikey Messiers in one movie. Do you get something for
I
that?
I think it's funny, and I've actually posed with a plaque. A nice plaque hangs in the Warwick Showcase Mall in Warwick, Rhode Island. Well, the Warwick movie theater, basically. It's you get the name Mike Messier on it. So I've
There
posed
you
with
go.
it, and I've taken credit for someone else's work, which I always am happy to do.
Well, hey, somebody's got to do it. Another little accomplishment that we had last week, I'm happy to say that my YouTube channel got over 2 million views collectively. Now, listen, I got to specify. I don't want to toot my own horn too hard. I didn't get like 2 million views on one video. If that were the case, I'd be jumping up and down right now. But collectively, throughout all of my YouTube posting, which I've been really focused on, I would say the last 2 years of my life, I've really put a lot of time and effort into cultivating that YouTube channel and kind of finding my niche. And I got to say that I'm happy that, I finally kind of figured out the videos that I need to post that kind of get my audience and my algorithm popping. So thank you to everybody who's watched. If you're one of those 2 million views, I really appreciate it. And there's going to be plenty more content where that's coming from. Rapidly approaching 3,500 subscribers on my YouTube channel, which is the very channel you're watching right now. So if you haven't subscribed and you just happen to be watching this, please go on over and click that subscribe button. It really does help a lot. And our quest to monetize this page, Mikey, I'm like one of those old Wild West gold diggers who's been out there in the desert, and I've just been met with a pickaxe, just hitting away at the goddamn sand for years now, just trying to strike a little gold or hit oil or discover some kind of greatness in the ground. So that's what's going on right now, Mikey. But we're happy for those 2 million views. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, Tommy. Also, I tend to rebroadcast these shows, or at least a good portion of them, on One Man and a Camera Films. So the audience might be seeing us on a replay there. So if you happen to be seeing this on One Man and a Camera Films, Tom's YouTube channel is Tom DeNucci. TomDenucci. That's your name, and that's basically the name of the YouTube channel, right?
Yes, sir. It's all right on there. So if you haven't, please subscribe. And yeah, let's get it going. So this week's topic is kind of topical. It's kind of timely. It's kind of appropriate. Right now, I'm prepping a movie. And with that comes one of, to me, the most crucial parts of preparation, which is the storyboarding process. Now, I've always had some form of storyboarding in one way, shape, or form, whether it's a lot of people know I used to do my action figure storyboarding, where I'd actually position the little characters and take photos of them and light it. But now I'm actually doing some full blown storyboarding where my goal is to actually draw the entire film, something that I've never done before. I've drawn entire sequences, I've drawn crucial moments in the movie, but I've never drawn the entire film. And actually, here's my man, Mr. O, right here, who's been helping me with these storyboards. he's from South Korea, but he's living in the UK, and we became buddies on Instagram. I love his work, and he's been helping me a little bit as we go through. Because here's the thing, guys, and this is what I want to make clear in this storyboarding episode: I am not a really talented artist when it comes to drawing. I've always loved to draw, and yeah, I can draw a character, I can draw a figure, I can do some simple things. But as far as like really nailing the essence of pulling an emotion out of a drawing so that a person can look at it and immediately like get a feeling, I'm still a work in progress when it comes to that. So I've brought on Mr. O to help me out, uh, kind of take my ideas, my thumbnail sketch, and then refine them a little bit and make them better because he's a very talented artist. So yeah, storyboarding, Mike. When you think storyboards, I think that that's something that even the most casual movie fan, somebody who doesn't know a damn thing about movies, probably is familiar with the concept of a storyboard. We've seen it before in our behind the scenes features and things like that. Um, concept art, storyboards. What comes to mind when you think of storyboarding, Mike?
Tommy, for me, storyboarding's an important part of filmmaking. And when I've, contrarily to what I just said, when I've made short films or even a feature film, I haven't, for the most part, enlisted storyboarding. It's not out of disrespect to that medium or to that process or to that aspect of filmmaking. It's more out of, I work with a guy, for the most part, my buddy Tim Labonte, who films and edits, and he kind of storyboards in his mind on the go. And I've just learned to trust him. But with projects where you have a bigger budget and you have more people involved, and you want the team that comes in, makeup artists, the set design, when you have more people on your crew, I think a storyboard is essential. And I just haven't been in that spot or that, process where I'm heralding 10 or 12 people together for the most part. So I think for me,
Or 100?
or 100, yeah. And I think for me, storyboarding is something like more money, more problems. If I ever get to that spot where I need one, I want to know a gentleman like your friend here, Mr. O, or someone else who's very qualified. I did like what you said, Tommy, about the art of storyboarding, because I think that a lot of people just think it's, oh, simple little drawings. But I think what you said about the art of it is pretty interesting. And I think we can touch upon that more.
Yeah. So here's what I've been doing lately. As I put together these storyboards, the storyboard itself is almost, in a sense, your shot list. And that's kind of how I've been thinking about it. I've been kind of thinking about it like, okay, where am I going to put the camera in relationship to the actors in the scene? So that, it can be overwhelming because, when I say I'm going to draw every frame in the movie, you know, that would literally be thousands and thousands of photos. We can't really do that. So we're not going to draw every single frame, but we're going to draw every single camera position. That's kind of what I'm trying to do when I draw my storyboards. Naturally, I'm not going to draw, this isn't a comic strip. This isn't a comic book, so I'm not going to draw little speech bubbles and put the lines of dialogue and draw the entire movie. That would be fun, be cool, and hell, I'd like to have that as a little memento and be fun to give that out to like the cast. Like, hey, here's your little Tommy DeNucci comic book of the movie. But the reality is that would just take me probably 6 months to draw. So what I'm doing is I'm just drawing the camera positions. So let's say it's you and me in a scene and we're talking. I'm gonna just draw the close up of you, the close up of me. Maybe I could indicate, do I want this frame to be dirty? Meaning, do I want to see like a little portion of Mike's head in the foreground when we're on my face? Do I want to see the back of my head in the foreground when we're on Mike's face? So you can make those decisions within the storyboarding. Or maybe you just want a clean single. If you don't know what a clean single is, a clean single means we're just like in there on this one person. There's nothing in the foreground. There's nothing that's going to kind of like separate. There's nothing that's going to connect this actor that's the subject of the shot to the other actor that they're talking to. It's clean. So I'm drawing my camera positions. And that way, my storyboard essentially becomes the shot list, because then I can take my storyboards and give them right to my cinematographer and say, okay, what do you think? Are we missing anything? Do you see any pieces of coverage that I didn't hit throughout the scene that might help piece the scene together? It's a great way to avoid mistakes. And since I have the time, I'm jumping into it. Um, and again, I feel like there's a good chance that a lot of scenes we're going to come into this, and I'm going to look at my storyboards, and things are going to change. They're always going to change. The location might be a little different than how I envisioned it. Some of the locations that I'm drawing, I haven't even scouted yet, so I'm kind of just picturing in my mind what they'll look like. However, on the day or on the scout day, I might show up. There might be a giant pillar in the middle of the room where I wanted to put my actors, and I'm going to have to adjust. But the idea is our brains like exercising, repetition, doing something over and over again. For the last 15, 20 days since I started these storyboards, my brain has been every day actively thinking about how I'm going to film this movie. So even if the storyboards are wrong, it's been beneficial because my mind has been so in the movie. And here we are. I'm on page 36 of a 92-page script. So I wouldn't say I'm halfway done, but I'm a little more than a third of the way there, and I'm just gonna go inch by inch. It's tedious as fuck. It hurts my hand. I'm cramping up sometimes, but I've been just kind of trying to make the most of it and trying to think of it not like I have to draw all my storyboards, but actually like, wow, I get to draw all my storyboards for this movie that I'm gonna go make, and that helps motivate me a little bit. I throw a podcast on that I like. Or I'll put some music on that I like that kind of inspires me, and it ain't so bad. It's better than digging ditches, Mikey.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned about the hand cramping, and we might, or we can watch something a little bit later that I came up with. There's programs now that can help with storyboarding.
Yeah, let's
I
talk about
found,
that, Mike. Tell me a
yeah,
little bit more about that, and tell our and audience about that, because some people might not want to draw, and this is an alternative.
yeah. So what happened is basically just browsing Instagram. I came across an ad, and there's so many. Instagram in particular is very ad heavy these days, and if
Hmm.
you like me, you put out there filmmaker, and then you get into the algorithms of a lot of people on Instagram I see are actors or actresses or filmmakers or film festivals. So I see a lot of ads about film stuff, right? And there's so much, man. Tommy, you probably have the same thing where it's like everybody's got the secrets to filmmaking. And they all happen to be on Instagram charging for that
Of
insight, right?
course.
But one thing caught my attention and I actually followed up. It was a free 2 week trial for Callisti. It's a hard name to pronounce. It's not very catchy, but I could find the thing. And I signed up for the 2 week trial, Tommy. And basically, what they were offering and what they were selling, and the 2 week trial was great, but the monthly fee is a bit much, at least for me right now. I think it's about $97 a month, or maybe there was different plans, but it was kind of pricey for if you actually wanted to get it. And so I did the most amount of stuff I could do in 2 weeks with the program. Basically, all they were saying is this is a storyboarding program. Upload your script, and this program will provide a storyboard. And it does. There are some kinks in the armor. I do
Hmm.
feel like their program is pretty awesome. I feel like it's about 3 or 4 updates away from really being usable
Huh.
and totally awesome. I feel like in 2 years, these people are gonna you're gonna go to these people in 2 years. Right now, I think it's beta. I think it's meaning that it's a work in progress and
But you
use
see from your experience with it, you can tell like, ooh, this is close. This is going to be something in a few years. I see what you're saying.
yeah, these
You see
guys.
the potential. You see the potential.
Yeah, and I even wrote that to them in an email because they had like a feedback form when I basically decided not to pay for it month to month, and they asked, "Why
Mhm.
are you leaving us?" And I said, "I think you guys are great. I think you guys have made an awesome tool. This is a game changer. This is going to help people." But right now, Tommy, one of the limitations, for example, is you can only have two characters in the scene at once.
Hey, come on.
Right. So that's a limitation. Now, for
I'll
me,
say.
My thought seeing their program was, well, I don't want to storyboard anything. I want to make a movie with this thing, which is not what
Right.
it's intended for. So I took their program and I made the images from a script I wrote years ago called This Cold Still Place. And I then took the images it created. I had to put it all onto Canva, which is another program that I pay for by
Sure.
the year. In Canva, I was able to fix a lot of stuff, namely hands. Like, have you seen how AI images have really bad hands a lot of times? Well,
Sure.
when we watch my piece here, if you're keeping
Yeah,
your
but the
eyes
reality
open,
is, pal, I mean, as an artist trying to draw my own storyboards, they have pretty bad fucking hands also. So, I mean, hands are tough. I give the robots credit. Easy. Even
right?
for a robot to draw a hand.
Yeah. So in my solution when we watch this thing is if you keep your eyes open, you'll see that I erased a lot of hands. Like sometimes the
Okay.
character just has one hand and the other hand is kind of hidden. And
Hmm.
because the female character is wearing a white robe, she's wearing a white robe. It kind of covers the hand that isn't there. At least that was the attempt.
I'm told that that's the reason why, if you look at a lot of, you know, antique paintings or historical paintings, from hundreds of years ago, you'll notice a lot of times characters are depicted with their hand tucked into their shirt or, jacket, whatever. And I've been told, and I don't know if this is horseshit or just some rumor or whatever, but I'm told that's because hands were that challenging to depict, that some artists were just like, fuck it, I ain't gonna draw that shit. Hide your hand.
I'm thinking of
Um,
Napoleon with the
yeah, you see
pose.
that Napoleon, and and then
Yeah.
I've heard someone say Napoleon just often had his hand on his belly because he suffered from ulcers. That's another rumor. But now we're
Right.
getting into the weeds on some nonsense. The bottom line is technology is playing its hand in storyboarding as well. But like Mike said, it sounds like there's a lot of limitations because one of the reasons why I was so kind of hell bent on storyboarding this current film that I'm about to make is because it's by far the most it's the most complex movie I've ever tried to shoot, just in the sense that it has such an ensemble cast. There are many scenes. That's why this program. And Mike, could you please take a second and find the name of the program as I
Yeah.
blabber, so people can maybe check it out if they want to. But this program would never work for me because I don't know that I might have two or three scenes in the whole movie where there's only two actors. This is an ensemble cast, and there's always just a lot going on. So that's kind of the reason why I was like, man, if I don't storyboard this movie, I'm going to get lost in the sauce because I'm going to be kind of like, there's so many people to cover. Like, am I covering everyone properly? Now I'll have it all laid out in front of me. It won't be as stressful. Let's check in with some of our and action folks as Mikey gets the name of this program. Ariana, what's up, Ariana? Welcome back to the live chat. It's good to see you here. I know Ariana's been working away on a couple of different projects, so we hope that's cranking along. Charlie Short Films recently saw a program called Studio Binder. That's interesting. We'll have to check that one out. I would imagine that has some storyboarding and scheduling software as part of it. Ariana says, in my costume design class, I just had handless figures in my designs. Yeah, see, they're like, yeah, you know what? Don't worry about these hands. You're not going to put clothes on the hands anyway. The only hand that I'm comfortable drawing, I can draw like a punching fist. Okay. Like a fist. Okay. Second, the fingers come out. When the fingers come out, all bets are off. And then if you got to do anything like depth, like if I wanted to draw a picture like this, where like guys pointing, whew, is this hard? Because now you got to make the fucking hand gigantic. You still got to, scale. Scale is so. I think that's the hardest part. The trickiest part about drawing is getting the scale right, and it's so important because when you're making a movie, storyboard, for a movie, a lot of these things are angles, right? Like I'm trying to
Right.
depict, like, okay, I want this to be shot from a low angle looking up. So now I'm finding myself a lot of times, and maybe this is helpful for somebody who might need to do what I'm doing. And here I am, a hack, artist who, yeah, I used to like to draw when I was a kid, but I'm not a fucking artist by any means. Now I got to adapt and I got to quickly get better at this. So what I've been doing is I've got my phone and I'll occasionally, like, you've seen cartoonists do this, like I'll make the face that I'm trying to capture and then try to draw it. or I will go online quick and I'll be like, um, photo of a face from the side, photo of people from above, and I'll try to pull up a quick photo and just see like what the angles are. And again, and I will say this, it's practice. I've been doing this for about 2 weeks. My first few drawings looked pretty shitty. And then, I'm not saying they're fantastic now, but they're certainly getting better. And another important thing that I've been trying to do is with my rudimentary art skills, I'm still trying to make the characters appear different so that here's a little tip for you. We all know who it is, meaning like my main character has a certain haircut and sideburns. My secondary lead doesn't have any hair, he's bald. My other lead, he's got just like a little Marine Corps island. I have another character that has a mustache. Obviously, I have a female character that has long hair, and it's easy to tell that, that is who it is. So I'm trying to find simple things that I can draw easily. Like one character has glasses, and that's easy to draw. So now, although I'm not Norman Rockwell, and this isn't an exact likeness
Sure.
of the actor, we can tell that, okay, the character with glasses is Jimmy or whatever. So, little tricks to just keep it simple yet detailed enough so that you're not just like thumbing through a bunch of bullshit pictures of stick figures, because you hear that too. People are like, just draw stick figures. And it's like, yeah, but not really. I mean, stick figures aren't going to really get the emotion that you want out of it when you show it to somebody. Or like what Mike said, a lot of times you're going to share these boards with other, your costume designer or
Your
your
team.
your lighting people, your team. So you want them to have a little sophistication. So try to avoid stick figures if you can.
Yeah, Tommy, and I've got the name of the program, and like I said,
Yes,
I did not continue with the subscription once the trial ran out, but I did put these because even though it's AI, there's still human beings that are making this program, right? So
sure.
I give the human beings behind the machine a lot of credit because I think in 2 years they're going to have something special here, maybe even 6 months. So it's app.catalyst.ai, and the name of the program is Catalyst, Katalist
Mike,
story.
write it down. Drop it in the comments there. Write it down in the
Yeah,
comments for the folks.
Catalyst. It's app period Catalyst dot AI. And if you want, I think we've
Yeah, we're gonna play
uploaded.
something. Yeah, we're gonna play a little something here that Mike put together with this Catalyst program. And I gotta say, listen, I I get exactly what Mike is saying. I see that, like, wow, with a little bit of enhancement, and yeah, there's going to be those little AI quirks, we'll call them. Sometimes a character is going to be a little cross-eyed. Sometimes a character is going to look a little wonky. But again, I hate to beat a dead horse here, but like if you drew your own storyboards, there's going to be a few frames that are going to be a little wonky. Anyway, at least this has color. They're beautifully colored, and they look pretty damn good. So, without further ado, Mike, I'm going to try and play this thing now.
Yeah,
I'm going to go over to Brand here,
and we just
and I
have to
just
be
downloaded this.
when it starts to play.
Oh, very cool, Mike. Very nicely done. So that's Catalyst. That's the program that Mike was speaking on that he used to put that together.
And
And
also Canva, Tommy, because I couldn't have made that with just Catalyst. Canva, I was able to edit it and add, and with Canva, I was able to modify the hands, especially, which was huge because if I just left the hands on the female, it would be very distracting the way that they came out. And also the music or the sound effects
sure.
was Canva.
It was cool. Listen, they the male lead there looked like a cross between the if Burt Reynolds and Chris Hemsworth had a child together, I think that's what it would
He
look like.
he was strapping, wasn't he? He was a strapping man.
Handsome fella for sure. Well, and as you could see, I mean, there was a great level of detail there. The colors were, gave this kind of melancholy tone. Now, Mike, did you get to pick the color scheme and things like that? Is it that customizable, or is it more just like you upload your script and they kind of decide what the tone is?
No, you have with Catalyst, you can choose anime, comic book, dark graphic novel. You have different templates.
That's
I think
cool.
with I think with this one, what I chose was watercolor. And then
Hmm.
what I try to do, and I think people would have to watch this thing 2 or 3 times to really get some of the story themes. But basically, there's the romance of the Civil War soldier and the fantasy spider lady, and when they're having the romantic interludes, it's a much darker black and white image.
Now, Mike, um, I know psilocybin is very popular these days. How much mushrooms were you dosing when you wrote this? Was it a considerable amount?
I wrote this story probably 12 years ago, and it won an award from a film festival somewhere on some tropical island, ironically enough. But the thing that I couldn't film this short film script with, the reason I couldn't film it, among other reasons, is in Rhode Island, you cannot film in cemeteries, as you've probably heard the hard way. You cannot film or photograph in cemeteries because the people that are deceased, their families would not maybe want that, or maybe the person that's dead wouldn't want to be filmed in a cemetery. So it's actually illegal in Rhode Island to film in a cemetery, and that's one of the major settings of this short script. So this type of program solved that problem, and
That's probably a good thing, though, Mike. Something tells me you go taking shots in cemeteries, you're going to get haunted pretty quick. You're going to have a haunted movie set. Nobody wants a haunted movie set. You want to
I
go
was
to crafty.
yeah, and I discovered the hard way. I was doing a photo shoot in Swan Point Cemetery, which is beautiful. It's like a historical cemetery in Rhode Island, and the security guard came over and was all angry at us. It kicked us
Sure.
out. But the thing
Well,
with
he
this
might have
program,
might have thought, how do they know you're not a grave digger or something like that, or a grave robber? Could have been a
well,
grave robber.
it's just I do like the concept that it's disrespectful to the dead. Like I do understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
nobody wants to be going to, drop their flowers off to visit their loved one's place of rest, and then see you out there yelling action with a bunch of
right,
cameras and people running. Oh, disrespectful.
right. So with this Catalyst program, Tommy, I'm telling you, like you like the images, right? I mean, the
I
images
do. No,
themselves.
they're really
Yeah,
cool. Listen, I can see, like you said, man. Again, not to say it for the third time, but like with a little bit of tweaking, if you're able to someday, like you said, in the next year or two, be like, there's 5 characters in this scene, and then this is kind of a cool thing that I would like. The next step to me, what I think would be really cool for a program like that, if you could actually upload images. Let's say, all right, I have Mike Messier, the actor, playing Jimmy, and I could upload an image of Mike Messier, and now the AI can recreate that person. Because then I could tell this program, like, hey, here are the characters that you're aware of because it's digested the script. Here are the actors actually playing those characters. Now, can you draw them up into the fold? Oof, that's going to be next level. And I don't think that's that far away. We're using AI right now, AI art in my documentary, The Heart of Knightsville. And like I said, like we started this process about a year ago. just in the last year, I've seen the AI make some really creepy advances. And when I say creepy, I mean that in a good way. Like they're getting better. Like the images looked very cartoony about a year ago. Now they're starting to look like where you'd almost second guess, like, oh, is that a photograph? Oh, wait, no, it's not. And, technology moves so quickly. I can only imagine what this shit's going to be capable of in a few years. So this definitely bodes well. If you got to put together your storyboards quick, that's a really nice approach. But for now, there's really no kind of substitute for just good old fashioned hand cramping hard work, and that's where we're at. So we're gonna keep it going through these next. We got about, I want to say, like, 30 something days left until things get real crazy. Um, Charlie Short Film says, "You still use the action figures?" I do. I don't want to say I'm abandoning or scrapping it. I just find that in a way the drawings have been make I've been moving a little quicker with the drawings. I don't necessarily need as much space to lay out all these figures, and one of the challenges with the action figures was I would also have to kind of build a set. So I was having to, like, build my own walls, and it involved a little bit of construction, which was fun, but I just don't have the time to do it. So now it's just I'm just drawing them out. Ariana says, if I was on a haunted set, I'd share my snacks with the ghosts and become besties with the undead. Hey, you make some really good friends at Crafty over some Cheez-Its or bananas, whatever might be, Pop Tarts, whatever might be out there. Personally, a go-to for me is fruit snacks. I like the fruit snacks at Crafty. It's always a nice selection. Um, but yeah, you got to make friends with the undead, no matter what, because they do have the ability to haunt you. So we're going to be winding things down now. We're going to cut things a little bit short today. Guys, this is what I got going on. I'm just going to flash it. You're not going to be able to read it, but this is just Tuesday. As you can see, there's a lot of items on the to-do list today. Every day I write them all down. I write what I got to do, and then I got this red marker here, and I cross them bitches off. This is your standard washable Crayola. I want Crayola to see this and sponsor me for my washable Crayola marker that I use, and I put a line through it. It's very satisfying, guys. If you don't write down a to-do list and cross things off as you go, you're cheating yourself out of a very satisfying experience, because it makes you feel productive, makes you feel good, and you realize at the end of the day, wow, look at all the shit I did. And if you miss something, now you can put it on tomorrow's to-do list. It's not the end of the world. A lot of things from Tuesday might end up getting kicked to Wednesday, but we're going to be accountable for them. So Mike, I hate to say it, brother, but things are getting a little crazy for me, and I'm starting to get a little underwater, and I'm just getting nervous that really for the next like few weeks, I think I need to just spend every waking moment that I have in the game prepping this movie. I know you're getting really busy preparing your venture up the East Coast to come see us. So the show and action is by no means over. It's not going anywhere. Mike and I love doing the show, and it's kind of like our weekly therapy. So don't get nervous. But we are going to have to put the show on the shelf for 6 to 8 weeks. We're probably going to be coming back at you in early October. We just got to go get some stuff done. Now, that doesn't mean that we might sign on and do like a little bit more of a condensed, like a 15-minute check-in every now and then just to say what's up. But Mike, we encourage that people go back and watch some of our old episodes if you haven't seen them. And if you miss us that bad, we got 85 of these things recorded. Can you believe it, Mike? So what do you have to say for yourself, Mike, as we take a little break?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you in person and taking this venture up north. As I talk, I'll show some of the recent artworks I've been doing. People can go to one artist, Mike Messier YouTube channel for more of the artwork. That was last week. I just did this one. I've been doing slightly bigger pieces recently, Tommy. This one came together a few days ago, and one man in the camera films with the numeral one, and one Mike Messier for Mike's Instant Movie Reviews. And Tommy, I think that it's good because people will have 4 or 5 or 6 weeks, whatever it turns out to be, to go through our catalog and to watch the back episodes. We do have a lot of episodes in the can that people even the most valuable watcher like Charlie Short Films and our buddy Kim Kaling there and Stephen E. They probably haven't seen an episode or two. And the other thing, Tommy, not to deflate us a little bit, but people can also listen to this show in their vehicle. I listen to podcasts a lot, and on YouTube, it's quite simple. You just play the YouTube through your phone, through your car, right, through your Bluetooth, and you can still use your GPS. And I do that all the time, buddy. I'm always playing a podcast while using the GPS through my Bluetooth, through my phone, car speakers. So it's quite possible. And no offense to us, but our rich voices will get the message across. You don't necessarily have to watch us, although we do appreciate being watched, but you can listen. That'll work too.
Yes, that's a good way to still get the content in while you're driving around and, get in a little and action movie knowledge. I am going to miss everybody, though. Like I said, trust me, I don't want to take a little break. It's just things are getting crazy right now. And we're just, we want to put every single ounce of energy into this movie and do something really special. And also, if you haven't, during our little sabbatical here, maybe you can go over to my Patreon and check out The Florist, which is a pilot to a TV show that I put together. It's available on there now for a quick little $2.99 download fee over at my Patreon. So there's a lot that you can do if you miss Tommy and you miss Mikey. Buy a painting, watch The Florist, and like I said, we might pop on a couple times just to do like a quick impromptu little hey, how are you? Mikey's going to be staying with me, so I think it might be fun if maybe we do like another Tommy and Mike are in the same house. So, don't be afraid to, I don't know what I'm saying. Don't be afraid. I haven't had enough coffee. Don't worry. We're going to be coming back with something when Mike gets to town. But we're going to miss you guys. We're going to be dedicated to what we got to do. Charlie, thank you very much. Charlie says, thanks, guys, for the effort and break a leg. We appreciate that. Ariana says, my first day back on live and y'all go on hiatus. Was it something I said? No, it wasn't something. He said, listen, we're all, we're just, we're going to war. We're going to go make this damn movie. And, we know that we're going to lay it all on the line for this one. And we're going to come up for air sometime in October and look back at what we did. And we're going to know that there wasn't one little second where we could have done a little bit more to work a little bit harder to make the movie a little bit better. So until October, everybody, we'll be thinking about you. Thank you for joining in. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Mr. O, we'll be checking in with you. I can't wait to see some more of that artwork. And thanks, everybody. Have a great
Thanks.
end of your summer.